The reason why your body or your loved one's bodies are not working the way you know intuitively they should be working, if you are struggling with excess weight gain, with severe allergic reactions, with ADHD, with indigestion, gut problems, thyroid issues, autoimmune disorders, even things like diabetes, cancer, even Alzheimer's, you just intuitively are aware that you and maybe even your loved ones are sick. And this is something that you cannot escape in our culture. Sorry, my phone keeps like moving to the right a little bit. You can't escape this reality that in our culture, in the year 2024, everyone is sick. And if they're not sick yet, they're on their way to getting sick. And I'm sorry, I know it's kind of like a doom and gloom subject, but just this is something that has been popping up in my awareness more and more and more as I've been learning the real, genuine workings of how the human body actually works. And I've been studying all day and just, I can't get the subject out of my head. It just keeps coming to me. Studying the medical medium information, learning in detail, specifically the causes of every single chronic illness that humanity is currently facing right now. Today I was walking through the park and I saw a woman walking her dog, smoking a cigarette. And I got, just by looking at her, I kind of felt she was a little sick. And I noticed that on her feet, she had skin discoloration, which is called vitiligo. It's like this thing Michael Jackson had. So since I've been studying the medical medium information, I've learned that something modern medical science has zero clue about. That the actual true root cause of vitiligo is Epstein-Barr virus that is feeding on toxic aluminum in the liver. So there's aluminum. It can come from jet exhaust. It can come from pipes. It can come from silverware. It can come from pots and pans. It can come passed down from your parents in the womb, in the birth process, but somehow the aluminum got into the liver. It's beginning to oxidize, especially when the liver heats up in certain scenarios, like very emotionally charged scenarios or even traumatic events. The liver can heat up. It can cause these metals to oxidize. This makes them perfect food for certain viruses such as Epstein-Barr virus. This then goes on to cause the toxins to not be fully absorbed in the liver, because one of the liver's jobs is to heal and to basically sponge up toxins, to cleanse them and to help them escape the body. But when the liver is not assisted in this job, when you're not hydrated, you're not drinking your lemon water, you're not drinking your celery juice, you're not eating your leafy greens, you're not eating an abundance of fruits like apples, watery fruits like grapes or melons, and instead you're just pounding your body with fatty foods, greasy foods like your butter, your eggs. Essentially, what happens is that your body, your liver, it can't cleanse properly. So a lot of the toxins and poisons, they pass by the barrier of the liver. The liver is supposed to be like the protector of your body from toxins, but when it gets overloaded with fat, because one of its jobs is also to digest fat, so when fat goes into the liver to be digested, but you just keep pounding it with fat and pounding it with fat and pounding it with fat, and you're drinking alcohol, and you're doing all these things that prevent the liver from cleansing properly. You're full of toxins. You're not cleansing them at all. what happens is the liver can't do its cleansing job. It can't filter properly. So then a lot of the poisons, they have to be cleansed out through the skin. This causes eczema. This causes psoriasis, and it also causes vitiligo, which, as the toxins are venturing throughout the body and attempting to be cleansed, they actually damage the coloration pigments in the derma of your skin, and this causes skin discoloration. It's really sad, and a lot of people struggle with this. They have to wear makeup to cover over, white splotches on their face. They all constantly get questions about it. People asking them, what's wrong with your face, or what's wrong with your skin? It's like, oh, it's vitiligo. My doctor says he doesn't know what causes it. There's literally nothing I can do about it. It's just, I'm laughing because it's horrendous. I have no information. I have no clue. Nobody knows. Every doctor I go to, no one knows. I don't know how to get rid of it. It's impossible. We have no info about it. And I explain this to you because this is the common pattern for numerous chronic illnesses, hundreds of them. The common pattern when you go on articles, just like the mainstream articles like Mayo Clinic, for example, and you actually dig and you search, what is the cause of endometriosis, for example, which is some sort of swelling in the fallopian tubes for women, and it causes a lot of pain. When you go to Mayo Clinic, they know everything about the symptoms. They know how to point it out and identify it. So they're good at labeling, very good at labeling. They're good at labeling your illness. Oh, you have vitiligo, you have endometriosis, you have diabetes, you have muscular sclerosis. Okay, great. Do you know what causes it? The causes are still unknown. Okay, well, this is a common pattern for hundreds of different chronic illnesses. And then you go and you look at the medical medium information, and it's the only information you can find right now on planet Earth. I check because my personality type is ENTP, and if you know anything about ENTPs and Myers-Briggs, all they do is just check hundreds of perspectives to see which ones make the most sense, and they're down to change their mind. If the one I was holding before is disproven by the new one, I'll just go to the new one. I'm literally checking to see what makes the most sense, which perspectives actually logically check out, which ones are the most complete, the most integrated, the most holistic, the most correct, the most effective, the most consistent, overall consistency in the logic. This is what I do. This is my job on Earth. So I've done this not just for diet. I've done this for metaphysics, philosophy, the epistemology of science, and personal development, and all sorts of crazy things. History, ancient history, a lot of things. But right now we're talking about diet, okay? So when you see the medical medium information, you see that Anthony William clearly has vivid descriptions about specifically why the woman has endometriosis. Because there's a certain bacteria, pathogen like streptococcus, that again cannot be fully processed by the liver. It's running amok in the body. Usually there's certain foods like eggs, dairy, and wheat that can feed this pathogen. Sometimes soy, sometimes canola oil, these kinds of things. They feed the pathogen, they allow the pathogen to thrive in the body, especially if they're not eating a lot of leafy greens and a lot of juicy fruits. The pathogen can live, it can create homes in the body. And the liver can't deal with it properly, especially if you're eating high fat or a lot of just junky, nasty foods like McDonald's. Then the streptococcus can then, in later stages of development, it can stay in your body for 10, 20 years, just slowly building numbers, building ranks, slowly. And then all it takes is a temporary flu that you get, or a traumatic experience, or just some event in your life that lowers your immune system temporarily, and then the streptococcus will then advance. It's like in a war. When there's a weakness in the enemy lines of your immune system, the bacteria, the viruses, they'll advance a little further. They'll creep a little further, a little further. Eventually, in later stages of development, they can start to attack certain nerves in the body, including like in the fallopian tubes, which will give you endometriosis. It causes them to inflame, to swell. The reason why they swell and they get inflamed is because the body is reacting against it with white blood cells. It's sending lymph to the site that's being damaged, that's being attacked by the streptococcus. It causes it to inflame. There's lymph, it's full of white blood cells. It's a defense reaction. Your body is trying to defend you. It's trying to protect you. When it gets inflamed, of course, it causes lots of pain. The same can happen in your ears as well. If you have tinnitus, which is ringing in your ears, or this like weird buzzing noise in your ears, super uncomfortable. The same premise is happening, instead of in the fallopian tubes, it's happening in the ear, some of the nerves in the ear canal. The streptococcus is attacking that, causing it to swell and inflame. So, my point here is that modern medical science doesn't know that, okay? That's the point I'm making here in this video, is that people even saying, oh, if I do carnivore, if I do ketogenic, my tinnitus went away, my eczema went away, not understanding the mechanism. Why is it going away? They're using faulty logic. Their hypothesis doesn't actually check out. They'll say, oh, well, it's because you're of the sugar. The sugar is the thing that's bad. The sugar is what's causing you to be sick. Oh yeah, that's kind of weird, because I was eating a bunch of fat. Well, I was eating pretty crappy. I was eating out a lot for a couple months ago. And then I decided, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to just do the medical medium diet properly, because it was on my radar for a while. I knew it was really good, but I just wasn't doing it. So when I actually started doing it, the reason why is because I started getting these horrible rashes all over my body. I would get out of the shower and I'd look like a leper. I'd just had these nasty red rashes, and they were really bad. So I was like, screw this, enough is enough. I'm doing the medical medium morning cleanse properly. I'm going to do the lemon water. I'm going to do the celery juice. I'm going to actually juice the celery. I'm actually going to drink it. I'm actually going to have the heavy metal detox smoothie. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to buy the wild blueberries and the cilantro, even the Atlantic sea dulse, the barley grass juice powder, the spirulina powder, the bananas, the orange. I'm actually going to have that every single morning, and I'm going to make it a priority. I'm going to prioritize that, because my health is my number one priority. After a couple months, all the rashes went away. I lost weight, even though I was already very skinny. I was already very skinny. I lost weight eating only sugar. So everyone's like, oh, you want to lose weight? You got to have only fat. No, that'll actually kill you. Yeah, you would lose weight, but it would be very unhealthy for your body overall. But what I was doing is I was actually just cleaning my insides. I was having lemon waters, having celery juice, having lots of fruits, 5-10 bananas, bunch of apples, steamed vegetables for dinner, steamed potatoes, squash, cabbage, zucchini, pumpkin, sweet potato, lots of leafy greens, lots of lettuce, spinach, fruits like dates, figs, having frozen bananas blended with blueberries, and just lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. These things are naturally healing tools. They're packed with antioxidants, phytochemicals. No, they're not bad for you. No, the oxalates are not bad for you. This is misinformation. Anthony William has a whole hour-long podcast about oxalates, along with many other subjects, just specifically explaining that oxalates are actually good for you. They actually help to escort heavy metals out of the body. No, they do not cause kidney stones or anything like this. It's literally just incorrect, wrong information, and he explains why. Again, Anthony William, the medical medium, if you don't know who he is, he has a gift. He is being given information from some sort of source, a spiritual source of some kind that is whispering information into his ear, explaining to him specifically what is causing the human being's illnesses that are around him. And he's been doing practice for over 40 years at this point. There's tens of thousands of doctors that use the medical medium books to actually heal their patients. So people say, well, medical medium, he's not a doctor. Oh, really? That's weird, because then why are there tens of thousands of doctors that are using the medical medium information to heal their patients? Because it's what actually works when we're talking about genuine, true healing. And we're not just talking about fad diets. We're not talking about temporary healing, like with the carnivore diet. No, you can't just eat steak for the rest of your life. I'm sorry, your body's not built for that. There's a lot of reasoning and arguments that we're going to go into in the next video, or maybe the next video. But no, actually, you do definitely need the glucose from fruits. Your brain needs it, your liver needs it, your other organs need it. And the reason why you might be sensitive to it, or you might not do well with it, is because of all the other shit that you're eating along with it. You're not cleansing properly. So if you're sensitive to glucose, maybe, you get a headache when you eat honey or something like this. 1 second. There's someone walking in the park. Yeah, if you get a headache when you eat honey, or if you get a headache when you have a vegetable, you have spinach, and it hurts your stomach when you have spinach. 1 second again. Sorry, I got some people walking through the park that I decided to strand myself here at night. Like being outside when I record. So your stomach hurts when you eat spinach, or when you eat vegetables, or you get a headache or an allergic reaction when you eat fruit. You can't take it out of context of what the rest of your diet is. You need to understand, if you spent 2 months drinking lemon water and celery juice and eating lots of fruits and just only fruit and only vegetables, fresh fruit and fresh vegetables, the ones that you can handle, you need to understand that your body would change. Okay, you wouldn't get stomach aches after a month of cleansing with celery juice and eating your fresh fruits and vegetables, and then adding some spinach in there. You wouldn't get a stomach ache. The only reason you're getting a stomach ache when you eat a little bit of spinach is because you're eating it with tons of grains, or you're eating it with tons of meat, or you had eggs that morning, or you're having butter, or whatever it is, or there's a bunch of olive oil, or there's like salad dressing on it. And people are like, oh, the spinach hurt my stomach. No, actually, raw spinach is very, very, very unlikely to hurt your stomach, especially if it's not eaten with a bunch of other foods that feed viruses, that feed pathogens, that clog your insides. You need to understand, when you eat just fresh fruits and just fresh vegetables, you're lowering your fat intake. Okay, you can have a little bit of nuts here and there. Yeah, you can actually even have a piece of chicken in the evening, or you can have a piece of beef in the evening. That's okay. It's not needed, but it is possible on the medical medium diet. There are certain grains you can have, like millet or oats, gluten-free. Yeah, so it's actually not a very restrictive diet. It might sound like it's very restrictive, but when you learn more about it, I can't give you a whole like tutorial right here. But there is a lot of looseness, and there are options for those of you who like your oats, or for those of you who like your meat. It's doable. You can still do medical medium and still heal, still cleanse your body, still bring your liver back, still reverse your chronic illness symptoms like your weight gain, or your eczema, or your brain fog, or even your ADHD and chronic fatigue and these kinds of things. Your body's not healthy the way it should be. You can reverse chronic illness by eating a little bit of meat. That's fine. But you need to understand that when people are saying like, oh, vegetables are bad for you, or they hurt my stomach, or honey is bad for me because I got a headache once, you need to understand there's other things going on in their body. Like their liver's literally like on its last lifeline and they're eating eggs and bacon and they're having peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and then they have a couple grapes and they're like, oh, the grapes hurt my stomach. It's like, no, the grapes didn't hurt your stomach. They're actually trying to point out to you that your insides are broken. So you know when you cut yourself and then you put rubbing alcohol on it and then it stings a bit? It's because it's cleaning. So in the same way, fruit, the juices in fruits, they have antibacterial, antiviral, some of them even have antifungal properties that sometimes in the beginning, when you're starting the medical medium diet, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable for a week or two. Maybe the celery juice makes you get diarrhea in the beginning, but you need to understand, you need to give it at least a month or two. You need to give your body time to adjust. Okay? After you do, I'm telling you, you will feel a type of energy you've never felt before in your entire life. You will never get stomach pain, or very rarely, like your stomach won't hurt anymore when you eat food. Just everything will be healthy. Your inside, you'll feel it intuitively. You'll know. It's not like, oh my God, I just ate steak for 6 months straight kind of healthy. That's not healthy, okay? That's like your body's literally fighting for survival and it's not doing well, okay? The kind of healthy I'm talking about is when your cells, your brain, your liver's loaded with the clean carbohydrates. Anthony William calls them the critical clean carbohydrates your body needs. I know what I'm saying sounds crazy because our entire culture is literally for some reason telling you that carbs are the enemy. Carbs are not the enemy. They've never been the enemy. Okay, carbs have never been the enemy. The big problem, the enemy, especially things that cause diabetes and so forth, is carbs mixed with fat. When carbs are mixed with fat, the liver can't even absorb the glucose that it so desperately needs to function and to run because it's using all of its energy to break down the fat. So the blood then gets too much sugar in the blood because the body can't absorb it because there's fat with the sugar. There shouldn't be fat with the sugar. So like think of a McDonald's hamburger or like a salad with like Caesar dressing on it. Okay. Now, of course, if you have a little bit of nuts with your fruit, it's okay. It's not like that's fine. If you have avocado with some honey, it's not ideal, but it's fine. It's okay. I'm talking about like putting the barbecue sauce on your ribs. You know, this is what causes diabetes. This is what causes insulin resistance because the sugar can't be taken up into the bloodstream because of the fat that's in the blood, so that the liver can't process it, okay? So what I'm saying to encourage you is just to really familiarize yourself with the medical medium information. It's a lot, okay? But your health is worth it. Like what I'm trying to do here essentially is I'm trying to save you time of just drowning in the swamp of misinformation, of doing keto diets, thinking you're healing. Dude, there's like 10 trillion videos on YouTube telling you that keto diet healed me. It saved my life. Keto, it's all about keto. It's all about high fats. It's all about, fuck sugar. Fruit is evil. Get rid of that shit. Or like honey, no way. Or, get rid of your fruit. Get rid of your leafy greens. You don't need any of that crap. All you need is just like steaks and maybe an avocado here or there, which again, the funny thing about keto is that you literally can't go into ketosis. If you're eating avocado, you can't go into ketosis because there's sugar in avocado. That most people don't even realize that. If you have any nuts at all on the keto diet, you're not going into ketosis because there's sugar in the nut. Okay? Any vegetable-based source of fat has sugar in it. So you can't go into ketosis. So even if you were doing just straight carnivore, straight meat, again, you would be depriving your body of the juice, the key water. Anyways, we're actually going to have to go into another video discussing the carnivore diet. Okay, I have a whole video prepared. So all I'm doing here is that I'm encouraging you to get familiar with the medical medium information. Read it yourself, buy a book, borrow it from a friend, get it from the library, wherever you can. Buy the book. There's multiple books. Get one of them. Any one. It'll work, I'm telling you. They all have similar information. Liver Rescue is a great place to start. Amazing place to start. Cleanse to Heal is another amazing place to start. Get those books. You can listen to his podcasts for free on his website, okay? If you have a question about a certain illness, I recommend just checking what the medical medium article has to say about it. So if you have a question about like AIDS, no, sorry, not AIDS. If you have a question about like endometriosis or about brain fog or about Alzheimer's, just Google medical medium Alzheimer's and click that article and just see what it has to say. Now, you might say, well, Adam, but isn't that ideological? Aren't you just being like, you're basing all of your health information just on one guy? That's not scientific. You're just like a quack. You shouldn't do that. And hey, I'm trying to tell you that if anybody on earth is aware of the traps of ideology, the traps of paradigm lock, the traps of falling into one way of thinking and getting stuck in that one way of thinking, it's me. Because I literally spent the last 8 years full-time studying epistemology and learning from people like Leo from actualize.org, literally explaining in detail for numerous hours, thousands of hours, literally explaining how not to get trapped into one specific way of thinking, how to not delude yourself, to deceive yourself in the sense of only trusting one person for your source of information, getting a wide variety of sources. So I'm telling you, I'm aware of that. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, and that's why you should check for yourself. Maybe Adam's wrong. Don't trust Adam. You also study hundreds of different perspectives. Okay? And you gotta test and you gotta experiment. You gotta not get married to one way of thinking. Not just science, not just medical medium. But what I'm saying is, when you get to the bottom of the glass, like I have, when you really have scoured the entire possibility space of ideas, literally skimming and surveying all the information, and you have this ability to discern what's true from what's false, what works and what doesn't work, just based on this cosmopolitan view of the world. I'm literally studying, I'm pulling information from hundreds of different sources, from literally evolutionary biology. People who talk about carnivore, you could literally tell they have no idea about what evolutionary biology even is. They're like, oh yeah, humans have evolved to only eat meat. I don't know, man. Your hands will disagree with you. I don't know how you're gonna kill a fucking pig with your hands. Your teeth disagree with you. Your intestines disagree with you. The fact that you love the way fruit tastes and when you eat it disagrees with you. The fact that your brain and your liver run completely on sugar disagree with you. Your eyesight, the fact that you can see these colorful fruits up in trees disagree with you. The fact that you can climb those trees, just easily pick it and bite into it, that disagrees with you as well. You're not a carnivore. Okay, I'm sorry. You can eat some meat, but you definitely don't want to be eating only meat. That'll kill you. And people will be like, oh yeah, the Eskimos eat only meat. It's like, yeah, okay, do a quick Google search on the life expectancy of Eskimos. They're not living very long. They're eating only meat out of necessity. You understand? And what people don't understand is that the seal blubber, they're eating wild seal blubber, okay? The seals, they're eating all the sea kelp and stuff from the sea floor, and then all of those nutrients that the seal's eating is then getting taken up by the Eskimos, and still it's not causing them to live very long either. You don't want to live like an Eskimo. You want to live like a human being that is aware that you have fruits and vegetables literally growing out of the earth available for you. The trees are sucking up nutrients from the ground, putting it into the fruits. You're designed to eat it, okay, and to drink it, etc. So what I'm saying is there's just a lot of sense making. There's a lot of missing pieces in people's entire general worldview, which I know I sound like a massive piece of shit to even say that, like, I have like a good general worldview. Like, who the fuck says that? I say it because it's true. I literally read hundreds of different perspectives. Anyways, video's getting too long. If you have questions about this, come join my free community. You can literally ask me questions for free. I sit there and I hang out, and I don't know everything, guys. Okay? I'm curious. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know everything about why you're sick, but there's certain patterns after you genuinely just study it voraciously, because that's all I care about. You just start to kind of see, like, oh, well, this is what's probably going on, and try this and it'll work. Again, I'm not a doctor. Okay, so I'm just sharing information. That's all I'm doing. You can choose what you do with the information. You could take your own responsibility for what you do with it. So come hang out in my free community. Also, soon there's going to be a book list in there with hundreds of different books that you can really learn and build this sort of cosmopolitan, big picture worldview for yourself, to really understand the nature of reality, how it works, what you are, what existence is. Because the reason why we even talk about diet in the first place is because you have no shot at self-actualization at all. You can't even get into the higher levels of ego development, of cognitive development, of self-transcendence, self-actualization and self-transcendence that Maslow was talking about. You can't even get into those higher levels if your body's sick and you don't know how it works, and you're so sure, you're 100% sure that someone who's a medical medium can't know the way diet actually works. You're 100% sure, convinced, but you don't even want to read the books first. You don't even want to like listen open-mindedly to the information first. Just holding it loosely, not passing a judgment on it. You look at the information and you don't know if it's true. So you got to just kind of like check it out a little bit more. Like, don't be so quick to pass a judgment of like, oh, it's false. You sure? There's like a lot of info there. Like, did you like read it all quickly, like before you left your comment? Like, it takes a fucking long time to familiarize yourself with this info. So be open-minded. Just leave open space to be wrong. You don't know what's going on with your body. Okay? The people online don't know what's going on with your body. Okay? The medical medium does know what's going on with your body because he's been knowing for over 40 years, and he has an extremely amazing track record of results, and there's tens of thousands of doctors literally using his information to heal people. So he does know, but you don't know if he knows or not until you go okay, and you go test for yourself. Okay, go do that. If you have a certain symptom, just Google medical medium, then your symptom. He might have a podcast episode about it. Read it. Familiarize yourself with this info. Come ask me questions in my free community, and subscribe for more videos. Bye.